Week one of training camp for the Minnesota Vikings is officially done and over with. That means we're really getting into the thick of things. So we're going to talk about a couple key takeaways from these last couple days of training camp and what we need to basically expect going forward into not only just the preseason but the regular season as well. So what has happened up to this point? I think we have a starting quarterback locked in his position. We also probably know who the backup's going to be. Running back room's looking good. Tight end room is a priority. And the cornerback, we need some help. So let's get right into it. Before we do, make sure to subscribe to the channel. So, as we know, the quarterback situation was an interesting one, and I've said time and time again, Sam Darnold's going to be the one taking the reins come week one of the regular season. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's just how it goes, okay? That's what he was signed to do for this season, and that's exactly what's happening. Sam Darnold is in charge as presumptive starting quarterback. The veteran has long been considered the favorite to open the year under center, if only because he has a significant edge in NFL experience over first-round rookie J.J. McCarthy. The ex-New York Jet cast-off proceeded to look the part as the number one in team drills. Keeping in mind these camp reps differ significantly from in-game action, where the pass rush can be fierce and the stakes much higher. Darnold appeared at ease in Kevin O'Connell's system. Now, besides one delayed throw pick in 11-on-11 drills, he was decisive and on target, and he also had the throw of the day, a perfect over-the-shoulder bomb to Jordan Addison. I've been seeing the videos all over, right? He's had a couple bombs to Justin Jefferson where he's dropped it in a bucket, and the big one was to Jordan Addison. I believe all of you guys, if not most of you guys, have seen the video on Twitter, or now known as X. I mean, we're going to see these videos throughout the rest of camp. It's going to look great until we watch it on game day. And then there's going to be some throws you're going to be like, oh boy. But as of right now, Sam Darnold seems to be locking up that number one spot, if you will. Now, while he and McCarthy each took snaps from starting center Garrett Bradbury during warmups, it's clear that this is Darnold's show until further notice, as O'Connell has suggested. Okay, he said that multiple times. And at least for now, it looks like the right call. Starting guard Dalton Risner indicated as much after practice to CBS Sports, where he had this to say. He flows with the guys. He's confident. You can tell that he's going to be able to fit that role or fill that role. Sometimes with quarterbacks, especially guys that haven't been here and they're new, you wonder how quickly will they fill that role and be the confidence to be that guy, because you need that as a quarterback. You can't be going into a huddle or a practice and being like, this guy's not confident. This guy doesn't really gel with the group. Sam did that instantly. That is fantastic news. That's what we like to hear, because we want to know who the first or the starting quarterback is going to be heading into week one of the regular season. Okay, that puts a lot of minds at ease, if you will. So who's going to take that number two job? Well, J.J. McCarthy is quickly seizing the number two job, which is kind of what I expected. I maybe thought there's a chance he opens up as a third string quarterback just because we have Nick Mullins. But J.J. McCarthy, from all accounts, from everything I've heard, has been absolutely balling out. He's been turning heads. He's been having a great camp up to this point so far. So it says maybe it's not a surprise considering the Vikings spent the 10th overall pick on the Michigan product in April. Yet O'Connell has gone above and beyond to preach patience with the rookie, lending some to believe veteran reserve Nick Mullins could even slot in as Darnold's backup. That wasn't the case Thursday when McCarthy uncorked some daring throws, including a zip to a tightly covered Tristan Jackson off his back foot on play action, while consuming most of the number two team of the number two reps in team drills, which means this, the second team, basically that's where he was getting a lot of his credit. But if Darnold gets points for his general comfort in the offense and for this pretty deep touch, McCarthy deserves credit for arguably the smoothest off-script fluidity. He hasn't or wasn't always precise when rifling it under pressure, but you can see why the Vikings believe in his athleticism as a point guard, which is something you would need to have in an NFL quarterback. Be able to be decisive with your throws, make things happen with your arm, and just kind of go out there and let it loose, play ball, have fun. That's what he's doing right now, especially in his first year. That's okay. And if he doesn't get the start, that's okay. Just go out there and be loose and play the best that you can right now and continue to improve day in and day out. Eventually you can start, getting those deep balls under wraps, starting to pinpoint or get that pinpoint accuracy under control and stuff like that. So I'm liking what we're seeing so far to JJ McCarthy and Sam Darnold, and we know who the one's going to be. That's Sam Darnold. The number 2 or the backup will probably be most likely JJ McCarthy. So last year, one of the big knocks on our team is that we could not run the ball to save our lives. That just wasn't possible, right? I don't think we had a rushing touchdown until it seemed like week 18, but it was probably like week 10 or week 8 or somewhere around there. We couldn't find the end zone with our running backs. And this offseason, we decided to go and select former Green Bay Packer Aaron Jones to basically boost the run game. And guess what? Well, Aaron Jones is a major upgrade at running back. I'd say so. This was obvious when the Vikings signed the former Green Bay Packers star in March, but it's another thing to actually witness Aaron Jones' breakaway speed, which remains fully intact at age 29. Okay, that's great to hear. A year after the Vikings sluggishly leaned on Alexander Mattison, Ty Chandler and company like Cam Akers and stuff in favor of the once explosive Dalvin Cook, it's safe to say that they've got a Cook-level threat back in the lineup. Okay, the number 2 spot, which could be key considering Jones's injury history, is much more up for debate, with Chandler, Myles Gaskin, and Kene Nwangwu sharing touches on or during 11-on-11 drills. Okay, so Aaron Jones, obviously a massive upgrade compared to what we had last year with Alexander Mattison. Aaron Jones has been a star in this league for a number of years at this point. The only thing that is really hindering him from breaking into superstar level or helping a team reach a Super Bowl is his injury history. He tends to get hurt quite a bit, right? He's had hamstring injuries in the past where he's going to miss a couple weeks, and we have to be ready for that. Okay, expect the unexpected, but at this point, expect it because it is expected, if that makes sense, right? Because he's going to get hurt at some point in time. He's going to get banged up, but if not, even better. That is what we shouldn't expect. And if he doesn't get hurt, we should be pumped up for it because that means we're going to have a pretty successful running game. Hopefully. That's the hope anyway. Now moving over to tight end, TJ Hockenson, he was added to the PUP list right before training camp, which means the physically unable to perform list. He is currently, going after his rehab at full go and really striving to be back in the field and ready for week 1. And that is what is taking place so far. So what's happening currently in that tight end room? Well, tight ends remain the priority, okay, even without TJ Hockenson. That's what this offense is looking at. TJ Hockenson is a lock to be a top 3 target if and when he's healthy, but even as he sat out while recovering from knee surgery, the Vikings leaned quite heavily on his position Thursday. Okay, each of Josh Oliver, Johnny Munt, and former NFC North rival Robert Tonyan made tough grabs in tight coverage, drawing quick looks from Darnold, McCarthy, and Mullins during 11-on-11s. In other words, prepare for over-the-middle action even if Hockenson is unavailable to suit up at the start of the 2024 season, which makes a lot of sense. I think the Vikings have always went into every single year with at least 3 tight ends on the roster. Why? Well, we have the superstar, or at least the starter of the team or of the position group, okay? Whether it was Kyle Rudolph in the past or TJ Hockenson nowadays, right? You have that guy who's a legitimate starter. You're going to throw him the ball. He's going to play most of the downs. And then you have the next guy who's probably going to be in there when it's, time to run the ball. He's a pass blocker or he's a run blocker and just goes out there and he's very, very physical. And he can still probably catch the ball if need be on little check down throws. And then there's that third string guy who might see the field every once in a while, especially if you run the 2 tight end set. Or maybe he's just waiting until an injury happens and then it's really his time to shine. We've used the tight ends ad nauseum basically the last couple of seasons. They become a pretty good target for not only Kirk Cousins in past years, but hopefully this year with Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy, especially for JJ McCarthy, who's learning this offense. It's easier to take the quick throws rather than, just sling the rock downfield when they're covered man-to-man with a corner, right? So tight ends have always been a priority in the Vikings offense, and it remains the same this season. And last but not least, the cornerback situation hasn't looked great. Last night, I almost had a heart attack. Okay, looked down at my phone after dealing with, the whole Kyrie Jackson situation. Very unfortunate. Thoughts and prayers again to his family. And then you deal with, we signed Duke Shelley, and then we lose Mekhi Blackman to a season-ending ACL injury just a day ago or 2 days. Yeah, just yesterday, I believe it was, or 2 days ago. But then last night, You get a notification from Ben Gosling, a Viking insider, that basically said, oh boy, Shaq Griffin went down. He's hurt. So you click on that thinking, boy, did we lose another one? However, he was able to walk off the field on his own capacity. Still banged up, still not great. So all you need to know is that Shaq Griffin is hurt. He's day-to-day, I'd assume, and the Vikings still need cornerback help. Now, even before Thursday, Minnesota could have added or could have used added help on the perimeter, where Shaq Griffin is slated to start despite an injury-riddled bounce between teams in recent years. Then Griffin himself went down clutching his leg after intercepting Sam Darnold in 11 on 11s, prompting a collective gasp from the TCO crowd. I'd say, okay, like I said, I almost had a heart attack looking at my phone last night, just looking at a notification, thinking, boy, did we lose another corner? Like, that would just be absolutely devastating. Now, the former Seattle Seahawks veteran eventually walked off under his own power, but received additional medical attention after practice, leaving reserve Caleb Evans to join Byron Murphy in the top lineup, and still feeling the loss of the late Kyrie Jackson and the season-ending injury to Mekhi Blackman. This group could use reinforcements. Yeah, I'd say we definitely need some help at cornerback. We have to go sign some more talent. We did that yesterday, signing Jacoby Francis, who's played with the Houston Texans in the past, didn't make their team or didn't make their final roster. But, hey, the more the merrier. Okay, we need as many corners in that room as possible right now because injuries are happening left and right. And if we go into the season with 3-4 corners, that ain't good. That is not going to be. That's a recipe for disaster. Okay, we'll have Byron Murphy on one side, a Caleb Evans on the other side, or it would be Shaq Griffin if he's okay, if he's not injured, if he doesn't have to miss any weeks, and then you got a Caleb Evans, and then you got Andrew Booth Jr. and maybe Jacoby Francis if he makes the team. I mean, things are not looking great in that cornerback department. We either have to make a trade or we have to go out in free agency and start signing some people before other teams do, because this cornerback room is not great. Expect the Vikings to probably look at drafting another corner next season. That is probably the top priority if I'm looking forward. If I have a crystal ball, first round draft pick, I don't believe, I'd have to double check to see if we have one. But if we have one, our first pick is going to be a corner. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Those are the quick notes from training camp day 3 and from this entire week. We know who the starting quarterback is going to be and the backup most likely. The tight ends remain a priority. Cornerback room needs help, and the running game should be improved greatly. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. Have a great rest of the night, folks, and Skol Vikes.